Hi everyone, welcome to Purposefun Friday. This is Yoli Ench again, here to share another wonderful resource I have found in my work. So just for you to think about, when we're looking at wanting to initiate change for ourselves or for our organizations or for a community or even trying to start something off, we often look at a problem-solving approach. Now, that's okay to do, and a problem-solving approach has some great benefits, but I'm suggesting that you actually come at it from another angle. Because today, with so many problems happening in the world and what we've experienced in the last few years, I suggest it will be really beneficial for us to come at what we want to create through a positive and a strength-based approach. Because, of course, when we can actually look at things in a positive way, it can bring new energy to create our image of a new future. And so let's work with this new energy. And for me, with my social enterprise, strengths is one of my values. And that's a powerful way to look at what you want to create, because you're looking at the positives, you're looking at strengths, you're looking at what's the best, what's possible, looking at opportunities. There are so many more ways in which you can generate a lightness, a positivity and possibility with strengths and appreciating what's best. So Appreciative Inquiry, which is what this actual resource is about, was created in the 1980s by Dr. David Cooperrider and his colleagues. And he was actually doing some research around how you can come up with some alternative to problem solving, which a lot of businesses were using at the time. And he came up with his concept called Appreciative Inquiry. Now, appreciative inquiry is actually asking questions on what is the best in the things around you. And it focuses on many things. It focuses on deliberately asking questions in a positive way and using strengths and asking what's best. It looks at actually believing that what you think about and focus on and what you talk about actually creates your reality. And there's a belief also that everything in people, the organizations and communities have something positive that needs to be actually seen and heard, all those rich stories that need to be shared. And there's also a recognition that if you focus on problems all the time, it can actually take you away from believing that you can change what's possible. So with Appreciative Inquiry, it's been around for a long time, and yet it's still used today and still used with powerful effect in developing countries, in businesses, in community organizations, for individuals, for families. Its power is still felt today, and it will into the future. So let's look at the model that Dr. David Cooperrider created. It's called the 5D model. Now, the 5D model is a journey for change, and it's created with 5 stages. And I've added one extra stage, which I'll introduce you to the end. Okay, so let's start on this journey. So we have the first stage. We'll just take this off. Now, the first stage is the stage of define. This is written in an action way. Now, define is to actually define the work that you want to focus on, the work that you want people to focus on and work on together, the future that you want to create, the change that you want to make, the improvement that you want to have. And you make this statement written in a positive way. So that's define. Now, the next stage, as we get there, that is discover. Now, discover is a great opportunity for you to reflect on the past and to think about the present of all the great things you, your team, your organization, business, or community have actually done. What has worked well? What are the strengths? What were the opportunities that you tapped into? What were the successes, the excellence? What were the factors of that success? What was it that worked so well? That is the area of discover, where you explore those positive times and feel the energy of that moment of when you were really working in a great way. Now, the next phase is dream. So this is where you look at all the positives you created and discover and use that as a foundation for dreaming, for imagining a future that you could live into. And this is a great opportunity to explore with fun and creativity. And this is where you get everybody to really imagine what would be the future that you would like to create. What could be the vision, the mission, the purpose, the goals, the intents? What are the characteristics of this future that you would love to create so that that is something that you work towards? So this is the dream. Now, the next phase is design. Design is where you bring together discover and dream and design what you need to achieve to be able to do this. So in the design, you actually start to create action plans. You look at the characteristics of yourself or your team, the organization that you need to build to be able to create the dream that you want to live into. In the design, you think about what are the relationships you need to create? What are the skills you need to actually take on? The new skills that you need to actually develop to be able to build the future that you want. So that's the design phase. Then we go to the fifth. And this one is, oops, I'll just move this one out of the way, is deliver. Deliver is where you actually want to action the design. This is where you actually work with the action plan and start to get commitment from all the people involved with what you want to create. This is where you actually look at the responsibility, who's doing what in the action plan, making sure everybody's ready to take action. They're clear about what they need to do and that action happens. This is where you look at monitoring the action so that you can clarify the progress that you're making. So deliver. Then the sixth step or stage that I've added, which I think just makes it more able to be recognized for its impact. So I've added describe. So describe is to describe the data that you needed from the deliver phase so that you know that you've achieved what you set out to achieve, that you are being successful with the change that you want to make going through this wonderful process. So describe is describing the indicators that you need for the data that you need to collect and to analyze this data so that you're actually going to create the outcomes that you want for the future that you can create. So this is the wonderful 5D+1 pathway for change. Now, this is a model. It's not reality. And sometimes you might move around and that's okay. But if you find that you can make the journey step by step following this, that's great too. And the thing is, you can use it in so many different ways. You can use it on one-on-one coaching, building teams, starting up an organization or a business. You can work it in coming up with new products or improving on your services in a business, starting up a social enterprise, improving your social enterprise, building community, addressing a system. Many ways of applying the 5D+1 process of appreciative inquiry. So my suggestion is make sure you download the PDF or the resource that we send out with this video and actually put it into action. Go through it all. Think about each of these phases. Think about the questions you want to ask in each of these stages.